Hey everybody, it's Tuesday and I'm just doing a Q&A because I'm all crazy and I've missed you. Have you missed me? I've missed you. I'm studying and I'm just between going over my last test and then I'm studying them and take a quiz, such as my life, so that I can become a licensed marriage and family therapist. My God. So anyway, so today I was feeling a little, had extra energy. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to do a Q&A. And so I took questions from all over, some from Tumblr, some from Twitter, some from my website. So I have 3 today, so I don't have them from every site, and I apologize, but I'll be back soon. My first exam is March 8th, and then hopefully I'll pass that one with flying colors, yippee, and then I will go a month later or so. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes 3 to 4 weeks to find out that I can schedule the next one, and then I'm going to schedule it, and then hopefully I'll be done at the beginning to mid-April. So keep your fingers crossed, send positive vibes my way. I'm studying my ass off, so hopefully that will pay off. Okay, I'm blabbing. I have 3 questions and a journal topic as well as a quote, so I'm kind of all over the place today. First question. Hey Katie, my question is it normal to have recurring urges to self-harm and feelings of depression even though it's been 4.5 years since I last self-injured? Or does that mean that I didn't work through something properly in therapy? This is a little bit difficult to answer, but I thought it was a good one because a lot of us struggle with this, right? And we think, when is it going to go away? Like, I've been fighting so long. And to be truthful, if you're still feeling depressed and you're still feeling the urges, I would let your therapist know. And you may also want to see a psychiatrist because sometimes we just need a little extra help getting over those depressive symptoms that sometimes lead us to those urges. It doesn't necessarily mean you didn't work through something in therapy properly, but it may mean that you just need a booster session because sometimes things get stressful, and I find that's when our urges come back and they get worse. And even a lot of my clients who've been recovered for years will tell me when things get really bad. Like I had a client who, sadly, one of their parents passed away, and she said, you know what's horrible is I actually thought about binging and purging again. And that will happen under times of intense stress. It's completely normal because that was a coping skill for so long. And our brain still remembers that that used to work. And so it will pop back up sometimes and it will like remind us, but not really remind us. We can let it go. It doesn't mean we have to engage, right? So recognize how far you've come. And even though sometimes you have the urges, you don't engage. And that's a huge, huge step, and that's amazing progress. So keep that in mind. Check in with your treatment team and maybe get a little extra support right now. And maybe do some soul searching yourself. Maybe take some time and journal and think about, did I not process through something? Am I still holding on to something? Because oftentimes we can hold on to it because it's part of who we are. And we haven't let ourselves define who we are differently yet. And so you may want to take some time and explore that and what it means to be you and who you are now. So, and stay tuned for my quote at the end because it's very applicable to this question. Question number 2. Katie, good way to tell my parents that I used to self-harm and struggle with eating disorder. My mom thinks that people with EDs or self-harm do it as a fashion trend or for attention. I don't really have a choice anymore and I actually have to tell her. Any advice? This is really difficult, and I get a lot of questions about this, and I know many of you worry, and I know I answer this all the time, but there's not always a good way to tell our parents or our friends, and oftentimes I have a video, and if you search, how do I tell my parents, I believe is like the beginning blurb of it, I talk about giving them the information that they need and not going overboard and what I call verbal vomit, when we're just like, blah, this is everything you need to know. This is everything you might not need to know. This is everything I think that I've been overthinking about. And so I decided to share it with you. So the things that I always work with my clients on how to tell their parents is keep it simple. Tell them what it is you're struggling from, how long it's been, and what you need from them. That's it. Just keep it simple. A lot of times they'll have a lot of other questions and you can answer them as quickly and concisely as possible. Or you can just say, I'm not really comfortable talking with you about all of this. I just wanted to let you know, and I would really like to get some professional help. That's okay. Oftentimes the most important thing for parents to know is what you need from them. So think about it. Do you just need their support? Do you need them to take you to therapy? Do you need them to set that up? What do you need? Because they just want to help usually. And the judgment and the anger or the frustration usually comes from the fact that they don't know how to help and they kind of feel helpless. And so they're like lashing out. So I find that that's the best way to diminish it. So I would journal a little bit and practice out the way that you would say it and how you think they'd best describe it. Because oftentimes parents who have these judgments is just because they don't understand. So her thought that it's fashionable or for attention is just because she doesn't understand. And you can even link her or let her put up some of my videos. Sometimes some people have told me that their parents responded well to my videos. So if you find a video you think I explain it really well, maybe just say, hey, can you just watch this because I feel like this does a really good job of describing how I feel. Because sometimes it's helpful to have another thing to share when we don't have the words ourselves. Okay? And let me know how it goes. Leave in the comments below, okay? Question number 3. What do you do if you think you have maladaptive daydreaming, and what help should one get? I did one video on DID about, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and I talked about maladaptive daydreaming, and I did it on that particular topic because I Drank the Seawater. I always want to call her Melissa because that's her name, but I Drank the Seawater's channel. She actually has a video on maladaptive daydreaming, and I actually did a collaboration with her on this, and we talk about it. And so if you haven't checked out that video on her channel, I would check it out because it's amazing. And what help should one get? To be truthful. Like I talk with I Drink the Seawater about, many people have had abuse or some kind of trauma in the past, and that's why they've utilized maladaptive daydreaming. And if that's something you think you struggle with, the best thing to do is to get help from a therapist or a psychiatrist or someone who works with trauma. And when you're making appointments, I would ask, do you work with trauma? I have past trauma and I'm hoping to work through that, because the main reason for a maladaptive daydreaming is usually because it's a safe way to escape the trauma that we're feeling, if that's clear. And if it's not clear, check out my first video on DID, as well as I Drink the Seawater. Hopefully that will clear that up, okay? Journal topic. Okay, so and I meant to get this from my house, but I'm already sitting. Damn it. But remember, I put a picture up on Instagram, and I got this amazing care package, all sorts of wonderful things. And one of the things was like a little jar, and it had purple thread all wrapped around it. It says Kati on it, and it's filled with all these popsicle sticks, and the popsicle sticks have positive quotes and motivational quotes on them. And this has been wonderful. And you can read them one a day, or sometimes if you need 2 or 3 a day, you fill off the popsicle sticks or even pieces of paper, and you put them in your jar. And it's like your positive jar. And then when you're having a real shit day, you're like, man, I could really use some extra positive motivation. You dig in your jar and you read your quotes, and then you're like, yay. Or at least for a minute, you're like, yay. And then maybe. But it helps us feel better. And so I was going to show you mine. Too many things on my brain. Okay. And the quote. This is from the movie Her. And then I followed this woman on Instagram. Perusha People, I believe is how you say her handle, if that's what you call it. I don't know her name on there. And she, I guess, expands on this quote. And the movie Her, if you haven't seen it, oh my God. Okay, so from the movie Her, it says, the past is just a story we tell ourselves. And the Scarlett Johansson's character says this to Joaquin Phoenix's character. And the Perusha People, she says, every hurtful thing that someone says to us, every bad thing that's ever happened to us, is just a story that we are repeating about ourselves, to ourselves, as if it's fact. But it's just this thing that happened, and it doesn't have to be who we are. And it makes me feel verklempt when I read that, because it's true. Think about how many times we just keep retelling this story to ourselves in the past as if it's fact, and it's just something that happened. It doesn't have to define who we are. So I would challenge you, when you find yourself retelling those stories, those negative things, those bad things, hurtful things that happened, challenge yourself to say it's a past. It just happened. It's not part of who I am. Right? Might be kind of difficult, but I think it'll really help. I love you all. This will probably be the last Q&A that I do before my test, so wish me luck, cross your fingers, and pray that I pass and it's amazing and then I can be back to doing this. Okay? I love you. Bye!